Hey, this is Bodhi. I wanted to talk to you today about drowning. Drowning is one of those terms that can mean different things. The first one has to do with when your body's immersed in a fluid and you can't breathe, like falling in a river or stream or a lake, and your lungs get full of water, and so you drown. Another meaning can be when you're uh, overwhelmed by a large amount of something. And too often in our lives, there are things that come along that are overwhelming, and we feel like we're drowning. We may be drowning in debt. We may be drowning in family, worries. We may be overwhelmed by school or some other situation that we're in, or maybe we've been having relationship problems and they seem overwhelming. But but drowning is basically not being able to breathe, and breathing is probably the most essential function that our body does. And I looked it up on the internet to see exactly what it is and how long we can last. And usually, from what I've been able to see, we can last, 3 minutes to, much longer, depending on how you adapted to it. Like some fishermen have these incredibly large lungs and they can hold air for a long time. But breathing is one of those functions that we absolutely must have within a short period of time. And it's not like water, where we can live for a while without water, and we can live without food for a while. But breathing is one of those critical elements that we absolutely have to have in order to stay alive. And one of the things I've been learning while I've been studying meditation in Rishikesh, India, is how important breathing is to a successful, happy life. And there are different ways that you can help your breathing out. And those are some of the things that I've been studying this week. Things like cleaning your nasal passages, being able to sneeze. Sneezing is such a thing that we take for granted, and a lot of us don't like, but if you think about it, sneezing is when we expel this huge amount of air and all of our muscles contract, and we just let go and everything comes right out of our throat. And I believe that sneezing is one of the body's protective mechanisms that expels this foreign matter, because we've got this incredibly high level breathing filtering apparatus we call our nose, and many of us just take it for granted. We blow it when it's running, and we pour things inside it to help us relieve congestion. But for the most part, we don't think about it a lot. So one of the things that we've been doing is we've been learning how to help our breathing come along, and this is done by learning how to sneeze, by blowing through our nose, by taking fast breaths that help to do this, by adding a little bit of oil to our nasal passages, and it's amazing how much clarity you can have when you're breathing well. Now, if you think about it, some people, have had years of very bad breathing, and you often see these people have to carry around oxygen tanks in order to help them breathe. And yet, we take this, we take this part of us for granted, and so I'm not qualified right now to teach you about breathing and breathing exercises, but it's one of the things that when I'm done here, I'll be able to sit down with each of you or anyone that wants to come and study with me, and I'll show you some of the techniques that we've been learning here. Now, one of the things is one of the terms that we've learned here is called pranayama, which is basically just breath control. Now, prana can be described as the life force, and yama is just an extension. So it's about extending our life force, and our life force is basically the air that we're breathing. So, as this training that I'm going through goes along, I'll be able to understand everything even better. But I want you to think about too the other part about that other definition of drowning, and that's how too often we are focusing only on the bad things that are happening in our life and not the good things. We may have had just amazing things happen to us, but one bad thing comes along and suddenly that's our total focus. Now, I read a book once by Anthony Robbins, and he says that what you should do is when there's a bad thing, that's coming at you, it's right there at the forefront of your mind, like right here, and it seems to stay there, and it just like blocks all of our good intentions. And even if we're surrounded by a lot of good things, it's the only thing that we look at. Now, Anthony Robbins says that what we should do is we should put it behind us. And that's such an amazing and easy technique. So if you think about it, you take that bad thing and you pull it from right in front where it's just staring at you in the face. And you see it just slowly going behind you to where it's in behind you, it's back of you, and then you just start letting it recede off into the distance. Now, this is the same technique that I've been talking to you about in letting go, and that's what you have to do, is you have to let go of those bad things, and you have to not live in the past. If you focus instead on good things and look at your life and examine the good things that are happening to you. Maybe you have family that supports you. Maybe you have a really good job that has a lot of promise to it. Maybe you're way ahead of your financial goals. Maybe you had this amazing trip someplace. Maybe you just ran into somebody new and they have made a really great impression on you. And I think what you have to do is you have to take that good memory and you have to replace that bad thing that seems to loom over you and seems to just stare at you all the time, and put that good memory there. And I think if you do, if you focus on that, on the good in your life, all of the good, and you let go of that bad, then pretty soon you're going to find that your life begins to move in the direction that you want it to. Now, that's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but I think if you take today and you focus only on today and take that one good thing and carry that with you, put it in your pocket, put it in your mind, and enjoy that experience. Think on it. Imagine how good it is. And don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's things are going to take care of themselves. But for right now, this moment, be happy. Enjoy your life. And don't focus on the past. Don't drown. Don't drown in any of the bad experiences that you may have had. You know what? Every day is a new day to begin. Every day is a new day to start over. We're at the beginning of 2019. We're right started with it. And anything that you want to accomplish is possible for you. All you have to do is focus on that. Okay? Set a goal, whatever that goal is. Break it up into little pieces. And then just try to get that one piece done first. And then once you've done that, then move on to the next one. Now, I've been a personal trainer in the past. And I always told my clients, just think of building muscle, and probably success is the same way, as like a sheet of paper. Now, one single sheet of paper isn't much to look at. But if you start stacking another one and another one and another one, pretty soon the pieces, the individual pieces begin to build. And over a period of time, you develop a muscle that wasn't there when you started. And remember that not every goal, is going to happen overnight. You need to think of these things as long term, and you need to focus on 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road, a year down the road, and know that if one of the things that's been bothering you is your weight, you know what? Try to lose a pound this week. If you lose a pound every week, that's 52 pounds in a year's time. Okay? I mean, yeah. So focus on that. Focus on losing, what if, you have a lot of weight? I mean, even a couple of pounds. Those are very tiny goals. Those are very achievable goals. And as you reach each one, celebrate that. So I want to talk to you again. I want to remind you about something. This is something that I kind of created a long time ago. And I'm going to leave you with this thought. Remember, you should always be a little cold. You should always be a little tired. And you should always be a little hungry. If you are feeling all of these things, then you're alive. And that is what you should be feeling, alive each day. From Rishikesh, India, this is Bodhi, and I'm signing off. Have a great week, and next week we'll talk about some other aspect of meditation training.